What's up, everybody? Baron Von Straw coming at you with another action figure review. Today from MEZCO, the 112 Collective Wolverine Deluxe Steel Box. Now, I know in some places this figure's been out for a little bit, but unfortunately ordered from my local comic book shop through Diamond, and they just now distributed this figure to our local comic shop. So I'm very excited, been very much looking forward to opening this guy up. So let's jump in and take a look and see what we got. So this is the box that the Wolverine comes in. It's not the first time MEZCO has done a steel case or metal case for its 112 Collective. Batman has gotten one. Green Lantern, Hal Jordan had got one. So it's not uncommon, but this is definitely by far the largest one that they've done so far. I love the classic Wolverine art that's on here. It's got a very like 70s and 80s vibe. And that costume is iconic if you're like me and you grew up with X-Men in the 90s. So love that that is used throughout this box. So when you take the lid off, this is what you see from inside. Everything's kind of buried under its plastic prison. But we're about to open all that and show you everything that comes inside. So when you take everything out, this is what you get. MEZCO usually is a pretty stacked figures, but this is insane, even for MEZCO. This is probably one of the most stacked action figures in terms of pieces in the box I've ever seen. The thing is absolutely awesome. Let's break down individually what different things you get with this figure. So in this package, there are 8 total heads. 2 of them are unmasked. You have this kind of like, I think it's more of an old school look, the clean cut haircut for Logan, and then the more modern, like messy, longer version. Now, a cool thing that's included here is you do have the unfolded or folded, I don't know which would be the best way to describe it, cowl that just goes over the neck, so you know, at any moment he can pull it back on and he's good to go. So I really like that. I think it's a really cool accessory that helps sell the look of the unmasked head. So next up, looking at the masked heads, the first version we're going to look at is the first appearance style of Wolverine, the cat mask. It is what Wolverine used in the comics during his first appearance, which is in Incredible Hulk 181. I think it's a pretty good version of it. I like how it's got the two. You have the closed mouth and then like the snarling, angry version. All in all, decent. It's not something that got a lot of runtime in the comics, but it's still an iconic look. It was what he first had when he first debuted. So all in all, pretty good representation of that look here. So the next group of heads to look at are like the main, like when I think of Wolverine, this is the look I think of, that classic like 90s kind of look. So there's 4 heads that match that. You have the regular, just the stoic version, the teeth baring, I'm getting angry, and then the screaming, I'm about to slice your head off look. And then my personal favorite of the 4, the one with the torn mask, and you can even see like pieces of the adamantium skull sticking out from it. So I think that one looks great to show some battle damage. Big fan of all these head sculpts that they have put in. Probably some of the best head sculpts MEZCO's put out in a long time. So another thing included with this to customize the Wolverine how you'd like him to be is the belts. This one's actually very easy to take off. Just lifting one little tab on the left side of it pulls the belt off so it can be swapped out. You get 2 belts with this one. You get this black like X-Men team version of the belt, which I think is pretty cool. It's what comes with it straight out of the package. And you also get this red belt included. I think this one's pretty cool because the buckle is swappable. You can go with that plain oversized loop, whatever you would call that kind of buckle, or swap it out for the X-Men team logo. Either way, I think it looks great. I really like the options they've included here to customize how this Wolverine fits into your collection. So it's a big props to MEZCO as far as that goes. So the next thing we're going to look at is kind of what makes Wolverine Wolverine, and that is the claws. So there are several sets of claws included here. You do have 2 different sets of the adamantium metal claws, and then 1 set of the bone claws. So the difference in the adamantium claws is you have one with the closed fists and then another with like open hands. So, I mean, pretty standard, I guess. Honestly, I don't even necessarily see the necessity for the open hand adamantium ones, but still cool that they give us a bunch of options. The bone claws I think will look really good. Definitely better quality than like Marvel Legends bone claws have looked. They really do present that, authentic, looks like they're made out of jagged bone look. Now, as far as unclawed hands, we get several sets as well. There's the closed fist, the open hands, and then the kind of random posed hands. One's kind of a weird open, the other's that pointing. And you can definitely envision this, like, him pointing at Cyclops or something like that with that finger. So, pretty cool sets of hands. So, that makes a total of 12 different hands. So, all in all, a lot of hands included with this, which is not uncommon for MEZCO releases. So about the closest Marvel Legend that would compare to this MEZCO would be the Love Triangle Wolverine. That was, of course, the 3-pack that came with Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine. Still, this MEZCO completely blows that out of the water, which most MEZCOs will Legends anyway. But that one came with a couple different heads, the unfolded cowl. Closest thing we've had so far to anywhere close to a deluxe Wolverine. And as you can see, this one's definitely a little bit beefier. It's got the cloth outfit, and it just absolutely kills the Marvel Legend Wolverines that they've put out thus far. So when put with the other X-Men MEZCOs that have come out so far, this one definitely fits in. Looks great with the rest of the team. Probably up there is one of my favorites. I really like the Gambit, though, because of how he looks with that long trench coat and everything. The Cyclops is great as well. I think all of the X-Men characters that they've done so far have looked fantastic, and this one fits right in with them. So once again, this is not the first MEZCO Wolverine we've ever gotten. There were several others. There's the brown costume Wolverine, which was the first one, and then the Logan. There was also the Japanese-inspired Wolverine, and then the original yellow Wolverine that they had put out, which was a con exclusive. Can't remember which one, but this one I think so far is the best. Looks fantastic. Other ones I didn't get with them being exclusives and all, but I think this one is great. Now I kind of have all 3 Wolverines. Maybe eventually they'll do like an Astonishing X-Men, which would be awesome to see, but I guess we'll see what happens in the future. So a really cool part of this steel box set that probably doesn't get enough credit is the display base. It's a broken down, torn up Sentinel, and it's awesome. It's got light up features, as you can see here. The remaining eye lights up, as well as the chest like power source. Fantastic. You'll notice all the little holes around there. Those are actually there for a reason. The stand arm that comes with them will fit in all of these holes throughout the Sentinel, so you can really use it and put them pretty much anywhere. Awesome design. Whoever did this did really well. You'll notice when you open the package as well, there's this little mechanical looking piece that sticks out. That is actually, that goes in the empty eye socket, so that it's a detachable part. You could even put it in someone's hand if you wanted to. Also want to point out real quick how cool this lighting is, how it flickers like that. I think it's super awesome. So looking at the articulation breakdown here, nothing too substandard from most MEZCOs. Be careful when handling the figure of the shoulder pads. They can be definitely sensitive. So the head, like I said, nothing different from most MEZCOs. The head is attached to a ball joint. You have a ball joint that goes inside the bottom of the head, as well as the top part, like between the shoulders. So that neck connects there. Pretty standard movement, nothing too crazy there. These can be super sensitive again, so be careful. You have the double jointed elbows, so you get a pretty decent range of motion out of that. And there is a butterfly joint on the shoulder, so increased range of motion there. Ball joint on the torso as well. Like I said, nothing too substandard here. Everything's pretty much connected by like standard ball joints. Double jointed knees on there as well, so really good natural range of motion there. Rockers on the feet. Now the belt sometimes doesn't want to sit over the leather of the like tights, so that can be a little difficult when posing. Just something you have to play around with, and with the belt being detachable and stuff, that's kind of easy to get around that. So all in all, solid articulation, but that's kind of what we've come to expect from MEZCO. So the only real complaint I have about this figure is the shoulder pads and how sensitive they can be as far as popping off. This is kind of just an irking problem. It took a little bit, but it was able to be fixed with minimal effort, I guess you could say. But when you're looking at a figure that's in the triple digits, you know, over $100, this is just an annoying problem that one shouldn't have to deal with for something that's supposed to be this better, higher quality. Marvel Legends, yeah, expect to pop something back in place, not your $100 plus, you know, premium action figures. So if you're an X-Men fan or a MEZCO fan, I would definitely recommend picking this figure up. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun reviewing it, opening it up, playing with it. Definitely, probably the top Mezco I have, honestly, aside from a couple of the Batman that they've made. Fantastic figure. Definitely recommend picking it up. Now, there are several effects that are also included with this Wolverine, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of them. The way you have to position the claws into the effects kind of feels like you may break the claws off, so definitely not a huge fan of that. There was a couple of these regular slashes that went on okay without that feeling, but all in all, not a fan. So if you do want to attempt to get this Wolverine, you're looking at a retail price of $155. So it's definitely higher than most Mezcos, but you do get a lot of bang for your buck with this one as far as what's included and stuff like that. So it's kind of an up to you thing if you feel it's worth that price for your collection. As far as the figure itself goes, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. I was really thinking I was going to give this figure a 10 because of all the accessories included and just how awesome it was and just liking the character itself and this being a good plastic representation. But because of the issues with like the shoulder pads and how worrisome the effects seem as far as attaching them to the claws, those are the only things that really knocked off the points. But the base was awesome. The number of hands and heads included were fantastic. Love the other accessories. So that's what would determine my score in this case. So that'll wrap up the MEZCO 112 Wolverine Deluxe Edition. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You have no idea how helpful that is, and I definitely appreciate everyone taking the time to watch. Have a great day.